Yes,
Okay.
you can ask me. And
Well, I can
my
clearly hear you now.
laptop charge also half. Okay, it doesn't matter. And when we'll stop, and I will use my cell phone. Okay.
Okay, let's do it quickly.
Okay, and again, I'd like to tell you
Okay,
to sorry.
okay, then
And
let's get
last session
started.
was supposed to held on Monday, but I couldn't join because
Mhm.
in our country Ramadan
Mhm.
already started a problem,
Yeah,
and
it is okay.
another problem I couldn't check your email because a mail from you that was written. I have to write
Mm,
some my participation, but that I opened using Google Docs, but I can't open it correctly, and I cannot send you. Okay,
mm,
and that's why I couldn't join with you on last Monday. Okay, thank you.
mhm, mhm. Okay. 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 So I I looked through your
Yes.
answers that you already sent me 2 weeks ago to my interview questions, and I have few more follow-up questions about this. So you mentioned that you say that the most difficult part when you conduct the distance learning is that you have a lack of proper knowledge to conduct distance learning. So, but I assume that you tried and you tried many methods to learn more, I don't know, pedagogy to conduct distance learning. So what did you do to learn the knowledge about distance learning? Did you try to learn any pedagogy
Yes,
or
I tried to
any
use
knowledge
I
about
tried to
distance
use some
learning?
pedagogical site because this
You understand?
system is introduced first time for us because we are not, and especially I am not to introduce the modern technology. But firstly, I have learned a little bit. Then I tried to use how to use on my students. Then I watched on some video clips from different YouTube channels, and that I gather some knowledge, and then I try to use that skill to use on my students. But firstly, I have noticed they also not interact, and they also not introduce all in this method, and I try to make them understand. And in this way, first I use Google for and sorry Google Classroom. But Google Classroom I also learned about this from training session, but I didn't
Form.
use it properly. But after COVID-19, then I use to my students. I make them understand and what they should do, and they will they could connect with me, and that things I gave them, and they try to connect with me. But pedagogical system is so much important, it's so much difficult to apply because I don't have so much skilled about this matter, but I have learned, and I have tried to use it. But learning and teaching is also cooperative, but teaching is so much difficult. But at first, as a teacher, I have to learn. I know, but if I know better, then I will provide to my students. And as much as possible, still now I try to follow this method, and I try to
Mhm.
at first I collect and I gather knowledge, then I will apply on my students.
Mm. Knowledge did you learn from YouTube or other training sessions? So how
At
to
first,
use Google
I
Form, how to use Google Classroom,
participate
something
some
like that.
webinar. Then I have learned how to use it, and then if I use Google Google
Webinar.
Classroom, if I use PowerPoint presentation, how to use on it using Zoom. But at first time I didn't know how to use PowerPoint presentation using Zoom. Then I learned about this matter, and then I prepared some PowerPoint presentation. Then I also use on my session to to take my class. But uh, but internet problem is the big factor, and today is the real situation. Now I have been talking with you, but electricity is gone, and as a result, I have not connected my Wi-Fi, and many students didn't connect with me. Lack of internet, and many students didn't connect with me. Lack of knowledge of uh, knowledge of modern technological problems, because that time the school were closed, then they didn't connect with us, and some students I called them by privately to my residence, and then I taught how to use that technology, and they were learned. Only some students were learned how to use the technology, but most of the students were skipped and were out of and using the technology.
Mm, um, I would like to ask more about the webinar you mentioned just now. What kind of, are there many webinars
Yeah,
during the
that's been
COVID-19
webinar
for teachers?
when
What
the
kind of
pandemic
webinar were
COVID-19
there?
started,
And what
and
kind
our
of
school, our
webinar?
country school, college, university remain closed. And that time, those who are skilled about this matter, they started their journey. And though I am a district ambassador, and my district ambassadors, those who are so much skilled, they firstly organized how can we connect our students, and how can we take our classes using Zoom, Microsoft Team, or StreamYard. And firstly, they introduced to us about this matter, and I learned from my
Mm,
district district education office, district ICT ambassador. They were conducted some online classes about this matter. Yes, I am also a district ambassador.
Are you also district ICT ambassador?
Yes, yes, it's nominated by
Oh,
Act 2I, and
is it
I selected district
nominated by
ambassador
A2I?
2019.
Uh, mm, did you get uh, any like honorarium or like a
No, no, no,
support,
no,
like a
no, no, no.
financial
It's a
support
volunteer
to
work
organize webinar
by
from A2I? Is it
by ourselves.
voluntary things?
Then, if I tell you some experience
Um,
from me, on 17 March 2020, when the school closed, then I decided what should I do and how can I help my student. 25th March, first I introduced using my a Facebook page
mm,
using my laptop webcam, and then I was trembling because I didn't have so much experience, and then first class I was taken, and I was reviewed, and I was noticed some uh, comments from Facebook. My students, they were appreciated, and then I tried to develop my experience. And actually I didn't know using Facebook is not a smart way to take online class, but I was continued 2 months, and month of June I learned I learned about Zoom, Zoom, and I also learned how to use StreamYard. Okay, and then I can,
um,
yeah, Zoom and StreamYard, StreamYard.
where was that? Zoom,
Yeah,
and after Zoom, and then
StreamYard is also online platform, but it's not
StreamYard.
so much
Maybe
big. Only
I don't know that
10 participants were
platform.
participated at the same time. but this system also included Facebook live session. But I mostly work
Mm,
Zoom and Microsoft Team. Okay, and a month of July, I learned about Microsoft Team, and then I use it
mm,
firstly online English language club. But I ran my online English language club, and I have already conducted more than 200 session and more than 95 teacher from 55 countries, and using online platform for developing my student speaking power in English. And it's a so much
mm,
amazing experience for me. And I have learned
mm,
many things, and I have visited many countries without passport and visa. And it's only possible for me online technology. If I don't know online technology, and now I have been talking with you, you are from South Korea and I am from
yeah.
Bangladesh, but it's only possible for me. This opportunity made me online technology, but the world is advancing and technology is also advancing. And first time first time
Yes.
Zoom was not produced so much equipment for taking class. And this media also introduced for communication, for seminar. But Microsoft Team is also a smart classroom. But it's so much difficult to operate. But our students are not introduced. But I teach them sometimes a little bit.
Mm,
But I also used mostly Zoom.
mm,
Okay, and mostly use Facebook page, because a word is saying that something is better than nothing, but in our country purposes, actually we don't know how to do it and what should I do it. And I think that if I help my students a little bit, it will also help for them. And that thinking, I started my journey, firstly Facebook, then Google Classroom, then Google Form, and Microsoft Team. Okay, and I
mm,
also connected my students, especially online English language club.
mm,
But after pandemic COVID-19, in this session I was I was conducted in my school by physically. But when I thought that it's not possible for me physically, how can I connect? And that thinking, I learned Zoom and I connected them. And gradually, some of my students are able to learn how to speak in English, because my students don't don't love to speak in English. They are afraid. But I always motivated them. Please come to my session, and if you talk a little bit, if you speak a little bit, if you share your experience a little bit, you will also learn. But if you want to develop your speaking power, you have to speak. Without speaking, you cannot develop your speaking power. And that thinking, they were connected. But it has also some hindrance, because their parents are not allowed to use, because some disadvantage also too, because our students are not introduced how to use it properly, by telling to participate in online class, but they use it, misuse. And when their parents knows about this matter, and they stop to use smartphone or
mm,
smart device, because they are not habituated. But only few students use it very properly, but most of the students, they use it misuse, and they have already wrongdoing, and they didn't learn actually how can they develop their skills. But when I make them understand, if you use it properly, you will learn many things, because online platform is big platform and you will learn many things. And actually, I didn't know about how to use ICT, but I also use from online, from Muktopad. It's also conducted by Actway. Okay, and I learned many things from YouTube channel and from
mm,
online. But
mhm,
my
mhm,
students, uh, they don't understand, and they don't, because they are very
mm,
teenager, and they are
mm,
not introduced smartphone. When they got it by their hand, and they are starting using misuse, that they are habituated to watch Facebook and Instagram. That's mean they think that online platform mean Facebook, and they cannot produce by their creative skill. When I make them understand, if you you can record your voice, you can record your voice using this smartphone. You can present yourself using the smartphone, and various way. If you use it properly, you can develop yourself. But now as two or three students of mine, they have opened their YouTube channel. They uploaded their videos. That's mean English classes video. Mostly, mostly they recorded their voice by reading passages. They upload their channels, and I appreciate them. If you continue in this way, your voice will be improved and your pronunciation will be improved. But if you don't have any friend to help you, but you don't need, but if you use it properly, actually it will help you. Yeah, in this device will help you as a bosom friend. Okay, and because I always, and still now I always try to motivate, and I always try to help my students. And if you use in a very smart way, you will learn many things, and you can discover yourself. And I have also taught them 21st century skills. That's mean collaboration and collaborative, and creativity and imagination, and problem solving, digital literacy, and good citizen. I have also taught them, and I also taught them by part. And if you be a creative mind, but you should have a memory, but you have so much potentiality, but you have to use it. But if you use it proper way, then you will achieve many things, otherwise not. So, and and now I have noticed some of students, they are try to follow in this matter, and they are also improved. But I think that using technology is so much important, but in our country purposes, it needs to time math math. But because they are not introduced about this matter, they think that if I use Facebook or Instagram, it's very amazing. But they are love to watch and different kinds of I have noticed vulgarism. That's been obscene films they are used to. But I stop to watch them, and I inform their guardians, please take them away their your smartphone from them, because they don't use it properly. Because if they use it misuse, and they have already gone away, and they have already gone to the dogs.
Okay. Thank you for your very active and very your passion about education and your passion about using online learning for your students. So now you experience the online learning during the COVID-19,
Yes,
and you also mentioned that your
COVID-19
perception has
situation
been changed due to
has
the
been changed
COVID-19
my
about
perception.
what is
Okay,
education.
and because it has been dramatically changed in education, not only
Right,
my country
right.
but also
How?
across the globe.
How?
And now it has so much
Mm,
taught we have to select
mm,
alternative way, and sometimes we have to take our classes not physically, but we have to think. And COVID-19 already taught us. And I have thought that yes, it should be needed more skilled for participating different kinds of webinar, and different kinds of using tools. If I use this kind of tools, then I will be skilled, otherwise not. And I also motivate my some of my colleagues, please learn using modern technology tool,
mm,
because if you don't know about the technology, you will face a lot of problems. Because when the our government advised to take class using at first using Facebook page, but my colleagues, they are not introduced, they are not introduced about this matter and what should they do. And I also help them, my students, to how can they use the modern technology. Okay. and uh, and gradually they have learned using the technology, and especially they have learned to use at first Facebook page, and then they also learned how to use Zoom. And some of my colleagues, they were also experienced. Okay. And please give me 30 seconds. Okay. And give me 30 seconds. Now I'm live only for 30 seconds, because I have electricity already come and I have to put charger connection. Okay, my laptop
Okay,
charging
okay,
connection is so much deteriorated. Please.
okay, okay, okay.
Okay, thank you. And because I have already connected charging. And in this way, I also help
Mhm.
my colleagues, and some
Okay,
of them are
thank
learned
you.
how to use taking in this way. And especially our government also sometimes directed, and some classes taken physically, sometimes some classes taken also to be taken online, because every classes should not be taken physically. And uh, if I use online platform, student also watching from offline. But when they were offline, they also used, because and these classes also staying in my Facebook page, in our school Facebook page. And I have a YouTube channel. I sometimes I also published some videos recording in my residence. And then I published my video clips in my YouTube channel, and I have also published it on my Facebook page, because so that they can watch and they can learn from it.
Mhm. Mm,
And
is
now
that classes is
now
special class or
yes,
your regular
now
classes in your
now
school?
every class is taken by
Your
physically,
YouTube
and now the
channel,
situation is controlled, and
is it regular
government
classes?
already advised to take class by physically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I have described already, but sometimes previous situation, I also took some classes
Mm-hmm.
physically, some classes online.
So, uh, in the contents that you upload to your YouTube channel, what kind of contents? Like any kind of special session for your students, or are you recording your regular classes by yourself and
Okay.
upload it
And
on the
I have
YouTube channel? What
also,
kind of class are
there's
you
been more than
uploading to
almost
your
100
channel?
classes. I also published my YouTube channel. That classes also taken, most classes taken Facebook page, and some classes taken Zoom.
Mhm.
Their classes using, I have PowerPoint presentation. But I noticed when I use PowerPoint presentation,
Mm,
they don't love. And then I decided
uh,
to set up my camera on the whiteboard. Yeah, whiteboard. Then I took my classes physically and by writing on the whiteboard. And then I
mhm.
noticed some classes were also more views and my students. Okay. And sometimes they rude comments. Please, sir, if you take in
Mm,
these classes it will very help for us. And I also tried, and most classes I was taken English, and some classes ICT. But ICT class is very few, but our head teacher also supervised, and more and more to take class English, because our students are so much weak in English. And now I have been running to emphasize my students on speaking
mm,
English. That's been I also measure their reading skill, and to sometimes measure their voice condition. And I also write down to introduce their self. And then next class I will take feedback. Please come to the dais and you will share your experience, and how will you introduce yourself to the foreigners. And I also make them understand, if you know English, that's mean if you are able to speak in English, you will dominate whole world. But if you don't is able to be speaking English, you will not dominate in the whole world, and you will not be able to communicate outside of my country. And I also teach my students, and using modern technological skill,
mm.
you should have
And
knowledge. Otherwise you will lagging behind, because you don't have so much opportunity. You don't have so much opportunity, but you should try as much as possible. Then I also emphasize my students, then uh, graphics, uh, graphic design, that's been graphical knowledge. And I also motivate them, if you know,
mm,
if you have
mhm,
graphical graphics skills, and you will create your imaginary content. That's mean you will create uh, a logo, or you will create design that will help you to earn money. And at present time, graphical site is so much strong all over the world. But our country education system is not so much developed, but government is trying, because
mm,
we don't have sufficient ICT. That's been laptop or
mm,
computer for every student. And I have a, that's been, my school has a one lab, but only for 20 students, to provide the opportunity. But every classes my students number huge, and as a result I don't give them the opportunity for my students. That's been whole student, but I have given the opportunity a little bit. And as a result they are not introduced, and they don't update it themselves. And most of the students are so much poor, they don't afford to buy laptop or computer, because my school is situated in semi-urban area. And as a result they think that, and they know that ICT means only for getting good marks. But I try to change their concept. No, getting good marks is not, but ICT is a practical skill based education. But ICT must have, you must have practical skill. If you don't have practical skill, you will not be improved, and you will not, after completing education, you will not earn money, because your main targeting point after completing education, you will select your job. But at present condition, you must have ICT based ICT skill education. If you will be a doctor, you should know. If you will become engineer, you should know. If you will become teacher, you should know. If you will become
mm,
businessman, you should know. And every sector, there is no alternative way without having without having knowledge of
mm,
ICT. So you must have. And sometimes I set up an example, and look
mm,
around, those who are skilled in ICT, they know a little bit, they earn money, and they living very standardly. But you should learn. And those who are skilled in ICT, they will be respected everywhere. And after completing your education, you will get a good job. And at least ICT and English skills. English is a
mm,
also language skill based education. You should have knowledge about this matter.
Okay. When you conduct the so when you do a Google Classroom, Zoom session, or Facebook Live class, did you have any difficulty to communicate with students or to have an interaction with the students? It is kind of more difficult than the physical class. How did you try to communicate or interact with your students on during their online classes? Do you have any strategies, or what kind of difficulties do you have, and what kind of uh,
Okay, but
challenges do you
you,
try to
I
overcome?
watched and
Do you
I
understand my
observed
question?
that when I use Zoom classroom, I interacted my views and my shares to my students because I was them, they also watched me. Okay, and এই একটু বিজি আছি কালকে কথা বলবো না ওকে and sometimes I ask them, have you understood about this matter? They replied, yes
Mm-hmm.
sir, no sir. But when I took my classes using Facebook, actually it's a monolingual site. I also describing only for myself, and when I noticed their comments, then I have understood it's some problems. But then I decided, yes, I would
Mm.
apply some classes to take my classes using Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Then I provide my students, but I have already described before you that my students, they are not interested and they don't have every student a smart device for connecting, and another problem, internet problem. But I have overall, I have noticed that if if I make them understand, if I make their guardian be positive, and if the internet service will be positive, but using internet, using a technological skill education will be applied, and it will be very positive. Otherwise, not. But if I have been skilled, but if I don't connect my students, but they will not learn. I have noticed only few students got the opportunities, but the rest of the students, they have left out the opportunities. Because only for only for without having their smartphone device, only for without having lack of internet, these problems created for disconnected the online platform. But I tried, but I think that if we don't overcome these problems, and
Mm.
I will not connect every student. But students also change their thinking, and they have also thought that yes, now
Mm.
if I search the Google, or if I search some YouTube channel, I can get a lot of contents for developing myself. And I also motivate them. And you don't, if you, when you face problem, you can search and you can
Mhm.
collect your contents, and then you will be enrich yourself, and without helping teacher by physically sometimes, and it doesn't matter. But I also think that, and I have also thought that our coming future education mostly depend on technology, and I have already understood about this matter because if the students
Mm.
if the student wants, he can collect using smartphone device from YouTube channel or Google, and he will enrich his or her skills by watching video clips, by watching by listening audio clips, because it is also more effective. But because when a student watch video clips, and when he watch uh, some picture or some topics related contents, and it will be more effective for learning, and it will be more effective for listening skill, developing listening skill. And gradually I have noticed, and all over the world, those who are very creative mind, they have already introduced their genius skill, their latent skill already shown. And they're thinking, I also think that I should I should use my skills, some taking classes for building up myself. If I take my class regularly, that will improve my skill. Otherwise, not. Okay, and every new situation, some problems first time. But as a
Mm,
teacher, I think that I should have more developed. Then I will provide my students. If I don't have sufficient skill about ICT and about pedagogical knowledge, then I will not provide. And it's too much difficult. But as a teacher, I think that every teacher must have skills in
mm,
ICT, must have skills in English, and must have skills in pedagogy, because pedagogical skill must be necessary for teaching my students. Understand? But
mm,
I teach and I work basically grade 6 to 10 class student. But their age and their mental situation, and that's mean
mhm,
after grade 7 or 8, they are physically changed condition. They have become teenage, and at the teenage situation, there are some physical changing for boy student and girl student. And I also sometimes make them understand, now you are growing, your voice already changed, your some physically changed, and you are male student, you have also some physically also changed, but you will not be worried. But and sometimes I also teach my female student in this way, but you are growing up, you have already changed your some physical organs, you have already changed, but don't worry, it's natural. But you have to keep us with, and you have should know, because our country student, most of the students, they don't know when they will reach the teenager condition. That's when after changing their physical condition, or and different kinds of physical organ change condition, what should they do? But after receiving and after training, training, I also learned different things, then I will also apply it in my class and to my students. And technological skill, I try to emphasize my student every day, because
mm,
I also make them understand, and I also tell my student that if you don't have technological skill in the present world, you will be lagged behind. Mind it, mind it. But next year, next 2 or 3 years, our curriculum will be changed, and
yeah.
especially technologically will be more developed. Then I will also help my students. But big problems or ICT related device. But if till I will not provide my students ICT related device, that's means smartphone or tab or laptop or desktop, I will not make them ICT based educated. But it must be needed. I think that it also practical knowledge. If I teach them by
Mm.
manually, but they will forget. But if I teach them, but practically, they will enter their memory about this conception.
Mm. So you think the online learning is better than the physical learning, or what do you think about the online learning? The online
Yes,
learning
I
should
also think,
continue
but
even after the
some
corona,
classes also needed, but
post-corona
some
era?
classes
Mm.
also don't need. But overall, if we continue, it will be helpful for our student online classes. But as I have noticed, basically English class and ICT class, it will
Mm.
be taken online classes. That's mean if I use and if I show my presentation, that's mean ICT related topics. That's mean a smartphone, or this is a and this is also a ICT device. Its name is mobile, yeah, mouse. If I use this conception, but practically they will learn from it. and they will think that it's also a device. And when I will I can show before them by PowerPoint presentation, and sometimes I can show before them physical. That's when it's a device part by part. When I show before them, they will learn. And but practical things must be needed physically, but practical things I think that it's not possible for online, because it must be needed
Mm,
physical classes. And without taking physical class, practical skill
mm,
must not be improved. But they have got some concept
mm,
by watching this kind of videos, but when they try to apply, they must be supervised by physical teacher. That's when a teacher, if a teacher observe their skill, then if they
mm.
made mistake, and teacher correctify, and then gradually they will have understood and they will have improved their skill.
Are there any your new any mm, so I was wondering if there are any pedagogical knowledge that you think this is the most need during the online learning. So what kind of pedagogical skills teachers should have to conduct the online learning? Like
Pedagogical
what is the
knowledge,
number one
yes,
important
yes, yes. That's
pedagogical
when
knowledge for online learning?
using picture,
And
using
and what
video
kind of
clips,
support do you need?
it must be to student base. Okay, and if I use video clips, what kind of
Hmm.
clips and which part is very necessary, I will present only that clips. It must have knowledge about this matter. I will not introduce the whole video clips, and
Hmm.
it must not, it's a wasting time. I think that that's when it's a pointing and very essential part. If I use and if I show my students, then I will describe, and then I will feedback from them. It will be better. But after watching a video clips, after watching a picture, and then I will, if I use Zoom or Microsoft Team, then I will ask my students, have you understood what is the main topic, what is the main theme, and if you have any concept, if you have any idea about this matter, you can share. And one student, I think that only one or more student can be able to reply, can be able to describe. Then I listen, and then I will add more ideas about this matter, and it will be more fruitful. And when yes, yes,
That is also same as a physical class. That is also same as a physical class. I mean, what kind of pedagogical knowledge that is most necessary for teachers for online learning, like a student-based classes or like a communication with the students, like explaining the conception of the material is also important during the physical class. But did you notice any pedagogical knowledge that you should learn
but
for online learning
sometimes
only, or
I think
is it
that
same? I
when
don't
I
know. Do you
will
have
take
any
a class,
idea?
and I should have selected content, I should have select topics. Then I have to think what kind of topics and what kind of picture, what kind of aids, and what kinds of materials I will use for my student betterment. Then I will take a class using online, because I think that sometimes most of the students don't connect with me, um, don't connect with me. But if I present my presentation very smart way using pedagogical
Mm,
knowledge, they will learn from my classes. But it's a long concept, but it will be changed. But regular taking classes, but only one or two or three, four classes, it will not be possible for my student for myself, but gradually. But if I think that when I started my journey first class, their class, I didn't understand, but gradually I have improved, and I have emphasized on a key point to show my students, then my students learn from it. And another things, I think that online classes must be time bounded, but it will not
Mm.
be large classes. That's been long. It will be 10 to 15 minutes and more than 20 minutes. But I think that it must be stopped. But some classes it will be more long time, but student feel that very boring, and they are not they are not
Okay.
used to
But
watch the video clips. But if I show my presentation
mm,
very attractively, they will watch, because after watching, they
mm,
think that if I watch the video, I will learn many things from it. But if I take my class as usual, but they don't love it.
mm. Mm. How much percentage of students were
Okay, but
able to attend to your
COVID-19
online
situation,
classes during the
very
COVID-19?
few number students at first time, then their number were gradually improved, but not, yes, 20, 30, 20, 30,
Like a
and
10%,
sometimes
20%
40, sometimes 40, but not more than, only city area,
at the beginning.
or capital city area or big city area. Those who are guardians are so much alert, they can provide their students to connect online classes. But most of the village students, they are disconnected. Actually, they didn't know. I noticed in our
Mm,
primary school education
mm,
system were introduced Google. That's been Google Classroom. Sorry, Google, not Google. It's been Google platform using Classroom. But most of the primary school is situated in rural area, they are left out. But as a teacher of this institution, they visit door to door, but most of the students are not afford to buy a smart device, and they are not connected. But only few students, that's been 20 or 30
mm,
percent student, mostly students are living in urban area or city area, they have got the opportunity. But rural area or remote area mostly left out. And our government also try to some classes to take to telecast using television. That's been private channels, government channels also provide some classes. But that classes also aired on satellite channel. But satellite channels
mm,
were not watched by in our every citizen, because some remote area also out of satellite channels, but they didn't get the opportunity to participate these classes. Overall, it will be it will be more effective after few years, and I think that government should be taken about this matter, and more uh, more invest money about this matter. Those who are poor, those who are helpless person or student, they can get free smartphone device, and then it will be possible for to reaching online class to every student, otherwise not.
um, so now Bangladesh is open the schools again. So now every classroom are conducted physically, face-to-face class. But do you think there is a learning gap between the urban students and the village students because they didn't attend the online classes during the COVID-19? So do you see there are any learning gap
Yes, I have
between
seen
between
the
them,
huge
or
learning gaps
what do you
for
think?
2 years, especially COVID-19. because my school is also government high school, and our
Mm-hmm.
school
Mm-hmm.
admission system. That's mean
Mm-hmm.
every year some students admitted in my school for taking part admission test. But COVID situation, after COVID situation, government directed only for admitted in, the students into institution for getting lottery. And that lottery system is also introduced in my country, and I have seen all level students are introduced my institution. Some of students, their skills, their proficiency is so much poor, because due to COVID situation they are not introduced to the their book. Okay, and they don't read, and some students actually they don't read the English topic or Bangla topic, and they don't know how to calculate English or how to calculate mathematical stuff. It's this is so much tough situation I will have to face in coming years, because they are now 6 or 7 grade. But when they will reach next classes, we have to face a huge problem, because COVID situation only are affordable person, those who are so much
Mm-hmm.
afford, they can continue their son and daughter's education. But those who are poor, those who are poverty line, below the poverty line people, they are disconnected from the education. And I have seen most of the rural people students, those who are hand to mouth, they left their education and they go to the different garments or industry for earning money, because for surviving them themselves. Okay, and they think that education is not for us, because we have to survive at first. Yeah, this is the real situation I have seen. And only city or capital city area
Mm-hmm.
or big city area, and they are not disconnected. But most of the rural people area, education is huge gap, huge gap. I can say huge gap, and this gap already introduced and already we are facing. And some of guardians,
Mm-hmm.
they already shared their views. My son and daughter's skills so much luck. What should I do? And I always improvise them, and I always help them. "Hey, you should do that kind of things. That's in reading, writing, and mostly you should advise your son and daughter to read the topic loudly and write down, because their writing skill is also affected due to a 2 years COVID situation."
Mm-hmm. So maybe those learning gap is not just from the online learning. Well, it was already there, you know, but it gets bigger because of the COVID-19, I think. But so my last question is, what kind of support do you need to continue this online learning in your countries, except for those uh, supporting infrastructure? Infrastructure it should be supported, but is there any like a pedagogical support or
And
I don't know,
now
teacher
I'm going
support?
to
What kind of
share
support do you
my
need?
experience with you. Firstly, government introduced Facebook page, then government,
Hmm.
after 1 year, the government introduced and government advised from our education ministry to use Zoom or Microsoft Team. Or yes, after 1 year. But firstly, we are introduced only Facebook page.
After
Okay,
1 year.
but
Mm-hmm.
after 1 year, that we are introduced, and in this time
Hmm.
we were learned by myself, by ourselves, how to, those who are very much curious, but not every teacher, those who are very much curious, only they learn about this matter. They started their journey by
Hmm.
respective for helping our students. But uh, but at present time, most of the time, online class is taken, still now every school page, that's been Facebook page. And government also directed to open a school website. I
Mm,
have a school website in my school. Some classes also posted my school website, but this idea and this thinking is totally new. But I am helping, I am helping my students, and I advise them sometime you should visit our website. There I have connected and I have introduced some classes. But online classes, if the government don't advise, but I think that most of the teacher, they don't follow it. Only for they, and those who are curious as like me, they can learn it, but most of them don't follow
mm,
it because they don't love it. Okay, but if in this matter, in this situation, government must be taken some steps about
mm,
this matter. Give the authority advice strictly, then it will be implemented. Otherwise, not. Because when I started my journey in 2020
mm,
using Facebook Live,
mm,
watching my classes, some of my colleagues laughing. They think that what did you do? It's as like a good manner, but you should stop. You should stop. But I never stop. But because I have noticed my students' comments. Please, sir, if you take some classes in this way, it will be better for us because we are staying our class home. But actually, we didn't know
mm,
about this matter. But please, you should continue. You should continue. But it's a word as like something is better than nothing. But if you continue, it will be it will be better for us. And after reading my students' comment, then I could continue. I could continue. But at first time, I didn't get any kind of help from my colleagues or others. But they make laugh. They sometimes rebuke me. They sometimes try to insult me. But I was thinking the pandemic situation will not be improved, but I have to take in this way. But gradually, after 1 month or 2 months, I noticed government declared to take class every school, every institution using Facebook page, and government tried to supervise from A to I. By taking their classes, I have to send
mm,
my link in this platform. That's an A to I platform, and they are trying to observing, and they are trying to follow our activities. And in this way, the rest of the teacher started their duty, and some of teacher came to me, please help me, please can help me. But I have understood, you insult me, you rebuke me when I started my journey,
mm,
but you have come here. Yes, now I have been successful, and you should have understood, you should have understood. And they came to me and please help me. Actually, I didn't know, but your journey was correct, but my journey was not correct. But I have understood, and the world conception is changed. And in this matter, a lot of activities were taken. Most of the teacher, by personally, those who are experienced and skilled, they try to learn using Zoom practically, and called upon teacher, please participate this session. You will learn. You will learn. If you learn, then you will apply to your classroom. Then you will apply to. You don't need to go to your school. You should take your class from your residence. Okay, and I have a I one room in my residence. I have already made classroom, online classroom. I have a tripod, I have smartphone, I have boya. Okay, then I collect personally, and then I recorded my voice, then I recorded my classroom, then I will publish my YouTube channel,
mm,
my school page.
mm.
Yes,
Can I have
yes, yes.
your
Now
YouTube
I'm going
channel
to write
address
down.
so I can watch your the video? Thank you.
If you write down MD Mazharul Islam 2011 Google search box, then you will get Google Chrome. And if
Google
you
on
permit
Google
it,
search.
screen share, and I will
Oh,
present before you
okay,
my YouTube
okay.
channel.
Mm. Okay, okay. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Um, are you, but do you still conduct the online webinar for your
End of
college
queries.
teachers to teach ICT skills or something like that? Are there many
Again, please,
webinars
I don't
going on these
understand.
days? Oh, okay. So are there any webinars still going on after the COVID-19
Yeah, yes,
for
yes, yes. And
among the
sometimes
teachers to
different
learn
teacher
each
and a group
other,
of teacher,
share
those
their
who are
idea?
very
Are
much
they
curious,
still going
they
on?
organize and they share their ideas. And our government portal, big portal, ATY, also got the
Mm,
opportunity if those who are uh, publish their classes ATY platform by
mm,
selecting they are the best week performer. That's been online performer, best online teacher, best online that's been creator.
mm,
In this way, a different group of different classes are already already uh,
mm,
declared, and some some teacher they have made their they have made their excellent skills to present in this platform. And sometimes also organize some teachers, they can share their views, and they also share
mm.
their problems, and they also share how to overcome these problems.
Is it like a regular seminar or is it irregular
Uh,
seminar?
it's
Or how
after a week,
often
15
does it
days,
happen?
a month, 1 day in a month.
Hmm. It's not a decided. When teachers need, they call other
Yes, yes,
teacher.
yes.
Let's get
And
together online and
firstly,
let's share
firstly
their
started
idea
teacher
about
to
this
share their
topic.
experience. Then
Hmm.
sometimes
It's not
government
a.
authority
Hmm.
also organize some webinar to introduce student skills and to introduce student experience.
Hmm.
Sorry, teacher experience.
Hmm. Okay. My question is done here, but do you have any questions
And
to me or any
my question to
further
you that,
opinion you
and
didn't share?
I have been very much curious to know modern technology and modern education system, and I am always try to develop my skills. Though I am a teacher, but my question to you that, and if you have any opportunity, you can give you can give sometimes share to participate that platform, then I will develop my skills and to become an ideal teacher, to become an ardent teacher to my students,
Hmm.
because I think that as much as possible I will try my level best, and everything I have taught
Hmm.
only for myself. First, that's mean ICT ambassador.
Hmm.
It's only for my ambition. I was started my journey, and at first I didn't know how to use ICT. Then I learned many things from Muktabat. Then I decided I will be select ICT ambassador. Though I have a problem, so because I have physical problem,
Hmm.
but my right hand doesn't work properly.
Hmm.
But I work only one hand. But it doesn't matter. But I will overcome
Hmm.
my problems at any cost, and I would select then I decided to my journey, how can I help my students for speaking skills. Okay, at any cost, I will develop my uh, at first I
Mm-hmm.
develop my speaking power in English, then I will motivate my students. Okay, and then I will decide how can I introduce my students about ICT. And I also took some training from online and 1 month training from physically our national institute in our country. And that session, that training, I have learned many things, and I have been uh,
Mm-hmm.
I have been more uh, uh, I have been more kinesthetic to learn about this matter, and then I will provide my students to develop their skills. Okay, and if you have
Mm-hmm.
any opportunity, you will be informed, and
Mm-hmm.
I will participate. And if you have any device that's been for free
Of
to
course.
provide me, you can send me for developing myself. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
if you have, please,
Okay.
another
Yeah,
question,
of
if you
course I
have
will do.
any
If I
opportunity
find any
to help my
opportunity that you can
institution
participate,
to provide ICT, that's been one lab, only 20 laptop, but it will be more 20 or 30 laptop, it will be more helpful
mm-hmm.
for my students provide, because if you have
Mm-hmm.
any opportunity, then sometimes
Yeah.
different welfare
Mm-hmm.
foundation, if you have any opportunity, you can provide, and it will be more helpful for my institution and for
Mm-hmm.
my personally. And any personal device, if you have if you have, you can provide me that,
Yeah.
and then I
Mm-hmm.
will use and I will enhance my skill.
Mm. Okay, I will find any opportunity and let's keep in touch.
Yes, 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 yes,
Let's keep
and
in touch. And if I have more follow-up questions, I will write to
yeah,
you
and
or
now
email.
I
Then
have been filling up
let's
Fulbright
discuss through the
teaching
email for
a
more
scholarship from USA.
discussion.
Today I'm going to fill up this form, and my targeting point, if I will be select, then I will get
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
visit outside country. But still now I don't have any uh, outside outside training that's been physically staying there. It's my
Mm-hmm.
desire. Okay, but okay, okay. And
Mm-hmm.
if you,
I
yeah,
hope
yeah, but if you have any
you can be
opportunity in
selected
your
from
country
Fulbright
in
scholarship.
this
I think
training
you can do
session,
it.
you can inform me. I will participate. Okay, but without, okay, if you have any opportunity, but South Korea is the
Mm-hmm.
richest in
Okay.
technologically and educational. Okay, and one of my teacher, Istiak Ahmed, he is also staying in South
Mm-hmm.
Korea for his researching about technologically. And I made him Nectar. That's mean I took a training session. Okay, Nectar. Okay, and that sir
Mm-hmm.
is also staying in South Korea,
Uh,
and sometimes he provides some video clips
mm-hmm.
about
Oh.
your country. And one of my elder brother is also staying in your country, South Korea. He has been working in a
Mm-hmm.
private firm, but I have noticed in your country so much beautiful, your education system
Ah.
so much enriched. Okay, and in this way, but if you don't mind, if you have any opportunity for your purpose, you can provide. Okay, and some learning materials you can provide me, and some, that's when I have already
Mm-hmm.
proposed. If you have any opportunity, you can, but if you don't have, you can.
Okay. Okay, I will. So thank you very much for today, and let's keep in touch. And I will. The honorarium will be sent. Maybe it takes, I think, a little bit while, but I will let you know
Okay,
if
but
my institution will send
you
you
should be
the money. Then I will
cordially
let you know. Okay.
accepted my proposal. Okay, and if you if you have any opportunity I hope that you must provide.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much today and have a nice. Okay, okay. Please,
I will.
please take
I
a
will.
photograph.
Okay.
Okay, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much
Okay,
today
okay.
and have a nice weekend. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for talking with you. Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, see you again. Okay.
Recording stopped.